Hey everyone, this is Anthony with mycodeteacher.com. In this lesson, we are going to do push notifications. Now, I want to note a couple things here. First of all, push notifications is really intimidating if it's the very first time you're doing it. I definitely had to read around a lot to figure it out. Apple's documentation is okay, but there's a few things that they really don't make very clear. So I had to do a lot of research to get that down. But once you know how it works, it's actually really awesome. It's not hard to implement it with any application. It's easy to do, and it's really diverse. You can send all sorts of different type of notifications. The information that you send in a notification can be really specific. You can even, if you track the devices correctly, you can even send different notifications to different people. Like you could even include something like their name or something like that. You can do some really cool stuff. The second thing I want to note is that I'm going to be doing a lot of cutting and pasting in this video. Push notifications is one of those aspects of iOS SDK programming where it's more about putting pieces of a puzzle together than it is actual programming. So I have a bunch of scripts already written up, and I'm not going to spend time actually typing them as I usually do, but you will get to see them, and I'll run through them somewhat slowly, and I'll explain what each part does. Yeah, so that's it. So let's get started. So on the desktop, I have an Xcode project here that I just created, push, and let's open that up. So this is blank. This is I haven't added anything to this. It's completely fresh. So the first thing we need to do here is we need to get set up in the developer uh, connection, whatever they call it, part of the program. So part of push notifications is you need an SSL certificate to securely connect to Apple servers. So the way it works is you register in the application. You register for notifications, for remote notifications, and Apple gives back a device token. Then you take that device token and you save it somewhere, and then you send notifications to that device token, which will get pushed onto that device. So we have a script. We're going to be doing this from the MyCodeTeacher servers, and this script is going to securely connect to Apple servers, namely gateway.sandbox.push.apple.com on port 2195. It's going to securely connect to that, and it's going to send the information in JSON format, and the information of that push is going to be in there, and it's going to get pushed from there onto the device. So basically, all you really have to do is send, make a secure line, a secure connection to Apple servers, and then send the device token and the notification you want. And Apple pretty much takes care of the rest. It's really not that hard once you get it down. So first, I got Google Chrome open here, and I am in the developer portal. So the very first thing is we want to make an app ID. So let's do that. I'm going to call this push app. We need to generate a new seed and an identifier. I'm just going to call it dot mycodeteacher dot push app. So I'm going to submit this, and let's see. I'm in a friend's iTunes Connect account. Richard Ryan, a really funny guy on YouTube. I suggest you check out his videos if you are so interested. Does a lot of really funny stuff. Just recently did an Owen Wilson impersonation, one of the funniest videos I've ever seen, so I definitely recommend it. Anyway, here, so we have the push app ID added, and so you can see there's a column here, Apple Push Notification Service, and it's configurable. So we need to click on Configure under Action here, and we need to check off this box and actually give a SSL certificate for this app ID just to enable push notifications, but we actually need to go to Safari for that. I learned the hard way that Chrome, when it comes to uploading certificates, Chrome it doesn't work. I'm not sure why, but it fails every time. So make sure you use Safari when you want to upload certificates. from the certificate assistant. So let's click configure, and we need to open up keychain access and request a certificate. So let's do that now. So let's go to the top here, keychain access, certificate assistant, request a certificate from a certificate authority. So I'm just going to type in my email address. We'll call it push app certificate and save to disk. Continue. We'll save it as push app cert on the desktop. Click save. Now that's done. Let's close this. Let's go back to Safari, click continue, and now we're going to upload this and let Apple sign it, so to speak. Okay, now we're going to need to download this and install it. Push app certificate. And we're going to need to do some things with these two here later on. So let's close this for now. And we're done here. So I'm going to hide Safari. And let's open up the terminal. And now you see, we now have, in Keychain, we now have our certificate, our SSL certificate for APN, Apple Push Notification. Now what we need to do is we need to make this readable by our MyCoTeacher server. So we're going to do some converting here and get this ready to upload onto the MyCoTeacher server so that when we connect to Apple's server from MyCoTeacher server securely, we can send the certificate and we don't get rejected. We need to first go into Keychain Access and export these two items here. So I'm going to click on the first one, export. I'm going to export it as cert. I'm not going to put a password on it. And I need to type in my password. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. This one's going to be key, however. Make sure you have .p12 selected, Personal Information Exchange. Again, no password. And I'm going to close this. Now, if we take a look at the desktop, we have cert.p12 and key.p12. So now what we need to do is we need to take these, convert them to PEM files, a different kind of SSL file, not a different kind, but a kind that servers read more usually. And then we're going to combine them into one certificate. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go back into terminal. Now, what I was starting before, I'm going to actually change the directory to the desktop because that's where I just saved those two files. And now I'm going to open up TextEdit, and I'm going to copy and paste the commands here. I suggest you guys do the same. I'm going to provide all of this in the files, the downloadable files, so you can do the same. And the 4 commands here. The first one is going to change the cert.p12 file into a .pem file. Second one is going to change the key.p12 file into a .pem file. The third one is going to take the password of the key file that requires a password to be converted. And then the final one is going to combine the two. So let's do this one at a time. I'm going to copy and paste. It's going to ask for a password. I'm just going to hit enter. So there's no password on that. I'm going to do the same thing for the key. Enter again. No import password. We didn't put a password on either of them when we exported them. But now the key does want a PEM passphrase. So I'm going to put in test and test again. And now this third line is actually going to remove that password. This is optional. You can leave the password on it. It'll just require one extra function call on the PHP side of things to attach the password to the SSL when sending it. So I'm going to paste this line in here and remove the passphrase, so that's done. And now the final one is going to join these two to create one final PEM SSL file saved as ck.pem. And we're done. So I'd like to mention that these steps that we're taking here, all the things we've done so far, can be basically exactly the same for any application, for any person. So you can basically just regurgitate this for your push notification applications. Creating the certificates, you can always use these for command line calls. You can always the signing of a certificate, the uploading, it's all the same no matter what. So you don't have to get caught up in trying to understand exactly what's going on behind the scenes here, because it's not all that important and you really can just follow the steps. So I'm going to close terminal. I'm going to leave this up even though we are done with it for now. Now I'm going to upload that certificate to the MyCoTeacher servers through Coda. So I've got Coda open here with some files we'll discuss in a bit. We're going to open up Finder, go to the desktop. So here we have all these files, and this is one we want, ck.pem. And we're going to drag this and drop it in here. So now it is uploaded to the video folder on our MyCoTeacher server. And so basically, the server is just about ready to go. We have a script here which will send notifications. We have a script here which will save device tokens to know where to send those notifications. We'll go over that in a bit. First, let's go back into TextEdit. We got some more copying and pasting to do. So I'm going to copy this first line. This line here, the registering for notifications is actually quite simple. It's not very many lines of code at all, and in fact, actually, it's just one line of code. This one here, and then we have a delegate method which gives back the device token, so we can save that and know where to push the notifications to. So this line here, register, which is sent to the application instance. Register for remote notification types, and then you have here the types of notifications you'd like the application to receive. So we have all three here: an alert, a badge, and a sound. And so that will send a message to Apple servers through the persistent connection that Apple actually maintains with all online devices. And basically, it just says, okay, this application here wants to register for notifications. Give me back a device token, so I can basically give them a link to my iPhone or iPod, and they know where to send those notifications. So now we have a delegate method here that we're going to copy. And the job of this is to simply receive the device token that Apple's going to send, so that we, the developer, can take it and know where to send these notifications to. So not very complex at all, really. Application did register for remote notifications with device token, and then it gives in the device token in the form of an NSData object. There's another method that you can implement to check for errors. I'm not going to bother. You feel free to if you're having some trouble. But let's take a look at what's going on here. So the first 4 lines here are for extracting the device token. It turns out that Apple sends it in the following form. So basically, they surround the token with angle brackets. So the first line will actually create a string with this data. The next 3 lines just get rid of those brackets, and the 4th line also adds percent escapes, because we're going to be passing this in a URL to the MyCoTeacher servers, so that the servers can save this in a database. We'll get to all that later. So it knows where to send these device tokens. So let's take a look at the next line. We create a URL, mycoteacher.com/video/savetoken.php, question mark token equals, and then we have a percent and an @ symbol, and that is to be replaced by final dev string, which is that percent escaped device token. Then we simply create a request object and then connect. We connect to that URL using an SURL connection. So our application actually done. Of course, it's not going to do anything, but it is done. So now let's take a look at what's going on the server side of this. So I'm going to go back into Coda, and we have 2 files here: sendnotif.php and savetoken.php. You can tell by the names what they do. The sendnotif.php will send notifications to devices. I just would like to mention that I didn't write this script. I got it from a really great website, macoscoders.com. It's nothing complicated, but they had already had it done, and it works great. So I figured rather than waste time and make something that might be less efficient, I'll just use their script. Basically, what it does is it makes a connection, a secure connection. It attaches this SSL certificate, connects to this URL here, gateway.sandbox.push.apple.com on port 2195. If you look at Apple's push notification programming guide, this is where they tell you to connect to. Now this is for development, the sandbox. If you're actually going to be packaging your application, you're going to need to get rid of the sandbox, so it'll just be gateway.push.apple.com, still on port 2195. So this script works great. So first we have the connection to the database. This here I commented out. This is just an example of what a device token looks like. I'm going to uncomment that so it's not italicized. And so here's an example of what a device token looks like. Very unique. No need to worry about repeats or duplicated tokens. Next here we get a message. Now on the bottom I have a form. So basically we're gonna allow ourselves to type in the message we want to send to the device. Then we have the payload. Payloads are in JSON form. It's pretty simple. This is what it looks like here. If you'd rather, you can make an array and then use I think it's JSON encode function to convert the array to JSON payload. Forgive me if that's not correct. I believe that's right, but I just have it typed out here. So the message right now is hello from MyCodeTeacher. Let's replace that with message. Now I have strip slashes in the message because by default this server has slashes on. Then we have the badge number. So whatever number here is going to be the badge number that appears on the application icon on the iPhone or iPod Touch. So 1, we could change that. And then we have the sound, the file name of the sound, bingbong.aiff. So then we have a bunch of functions here. One to create the streaming context. Then we attach on the SSL certificate. Here is the commented out line. You can use this to attach a password. We don't have one, but if we had not removed it, it would be... Actually, we never added any, but we could have left test and then completed it with the other one. But we're not gonna. We removed all passwords. Then we make the connection, the socket connection. And here is where we get serious, so to speak. We are going to... We have a table. Actually, I haven't created it yet, so let's do that real quick. I'm going to make a table. I have a database dedicated just to this video, mycodet_videos, and we're going to create a table called device tokens with one field, simply the device token. Now, of course, you can make this much more complex with names and contact information attached, whatever you like, but we're really just going to send a notification. So the field is going to be called device token. I'm going to make it a varchar, and the length of these tokens is somewhere around 75, so I'm just going to make it 90 just to be certain, and save. Okay, so we have this table completed. So now let's go back to Coda. What happens here is when the application launches, we had this here. Actually, after the application receives the device token, it'll launch. It'll ask for a device token. Once it gets it, it will make a connection to this URL, passing in the device token. And then if we go back to save token.php, this script, it takes that token in the URL and inserts it into the device tokens table in the MySQL database. So now we have that saved, and then we go back to here and we fetch all of these device tokens from that table. We go through a while loop, adding all of them to an array I've made up called dev array, and then we run a for each loop where for each item in that array, which is 1 per device token, we're going to send the device token along with the payload, write that to Apple servers, and when that's done, we're going to close. So for each device token, we're going to send a payload to Apple servers. So, if we had 10 device tokens saved in our database for 10 different iPhones, this loop would run 10 times, and each time it would send a payload to each individual device. And you can send anything you like to any device. You can be as specific as you want, as long as you have the server space to store all the information you'd need to store for each individual device. So so that's the gist of what's going on here. This is all going to be down below. This is all provided, so you can download all these scripts. You can use them, modify them. Be sure to upload your SSL certificate file. We have that here. So now we need to actually run the application. So I need to go back to Safari, and I need to get a provisioning profile. So I'm going to make a new profile. I'll call it Push App Profile. Check off the certificate. The app ID is Push App. I'm going to select all, which is unnecessary, but just to save time. Okay, now that's pending. I'm going to refresh, and now I'm going to download. Okay, and now I'm going to drag this into Xcode, and you can see this is installed on my iPod Touch. Okay, so now I need to change a few things here. This is actually going to be iPhone device 3.1.2. And we need to actually, it's already been set. Okay, so make sure to set your provisioning profile. Okay, and now change this here. And also I'm going to change the identifier. Okay, and we should be ready to go. So let's give it a shot. So when the application first launches, it asks if we would like to allow this application to send notifications. So of course I'm going to click OK. So the application is finished launching, and I'll show you what's going on in the app in a second through my camera. But before we do that, let's go back into Google Chrome, and I want to take a look and see if this device ID has been added to the table. So there it is. So this part of the script here is working correctly. So it makes a connection to that file with the device token attached, and it's been saved in the database. So now let's go to our part of the script that sends the notifications. Okay. Got my iPod Touch here, and I just closed the application. And so now I'm going to see if this all works. Okay, so let's send a message. How about hello there? Click send. And I'm not sure if you could hear that, but it came up on my iPod, so I'm just going to show it to you guys. And now I can click close or view. I'm going to click close. Right? Now let's slide to the right here, and you can see on the push icon is the badge number 1. Let's send another one just for fun. Hey, from my code teacher. You can hear it again. I'm not going to bother showing it to you. I'm sure you guys believe me. And so that's pretty much it. It's I can definitely say that it's intimidating, the push notification. There's a lot of things going on, but once you get the hang of it, and believe me, it'll only take 1, maybe 2 times before you really get it, and you can do it like that. And then once you've gotten it, you can repeat the process for any application, and even offer to do it for friends who are afraid to figure it out for themselves. So that's how push notification works on the iOS SDK. I'm Anthony from MyCodeTeacher.com. I hope you learned a lot, and thank you for tuning in. And please tune in next time.